Hello everyone, Ryan here. My apologies beforehand if you hear any loud background noises. That is just my nephews running amok throughout the house. They were released early today because of holidays, holiday vacation and whatnot. So they like to annoy the hell out of each other. So, anyways, moving on. Load by Metallica. This is their sixth studio album. It was released in 1996, sometime in June 1996. And pretty much, I guess you could say, when they released this album, they disappointed an even larger percentage of their quote-unquote diehard fans. As if, pretty much, as I explained before, I believe I explained in my review of the Black Album, there's a large percentage of fans felt like they just completely turned their backs on their thrash metal roots, and which I would agree with to a certain extent, because the Black Album is definitely their most polished, commercial, radio-friendly album, but nonetheless still became widely popular. And after touring for 2.5 years for the Black Album, they took a long break, and then 1996 released Load. And Load is essentially more of a combination of hard rock, blues, and other slightly darker elements. But then there's even a couple songs that have a slightly poppier vibe. There's even one song that's sounds it's much more akin to country music. So I'll just go ahead and read the track listing here and then talk about 5 of my favorites, or maybe 6. I don't know. So the first track is titled Ain't My Bitch. Second track is 2x4. Third, The House Jack Built. Fourth, Until It Sleeps. Fifth, King Nothing. 6, Hero of the Day. 7, Bleeding Me. 8, Cure. 9, Poor Twisted Me. 10, Wasting My Hate. 11, Mama Said. 12, Thorn Within. 13, Ronnie. And 14, the last track, The Outlaw Torn. So as far as my 5 favorites are concerned, in fact, I'm going to go with 6. So my 6th favorite off this album would be Hero of the Day. My 5th favorite would be The House Jack Built. My 4th favorite would be Until It Sleeps. My 3rd favorite would definitely be King Nothing. My 2nd favorite, did I say 5? I don't know. Maybe I should start over. So my 6th favorite is Hero of the Day. 5th, Until It Sleeps. 4th, King Nothing. 3rd, The House Jack Built. 2nd, Bleeding Me. And then 1st, The Outlaw Torn. Yeah. Although I would say definitely my favorites off of this album are kind of tend to fluctuate. Then also too, I think mostly when it comes to Load, I prefer listening to the entire album, at least all the way through a couple times. And actually, this is the first Metallica album that I ever listened to all the way through. Back when it came out in '96, of course I was introduced to this album and Metallica by an older cousin of mine, who, of course, she also introduced me to a lot of other bands during the mid to late '90s, for which I'm grateful for. Will always be grateful for. But yeah, this was the album that first got me initially hooked on Metallica's music, and also prompted me to want to learn more about them and listen to all of their other albums. So I guess in a way you could say, if it wasn't for this album, who knows how much longer it would have taken me to discover the awesomeness of Metallica. That's the way I look at it. And granted, I will say, of course, the one song I mentioned that is much more like a country song would be Mama Said. That's mostly because it has like this twangy kind of slide guitar part. But then eventually towards the end, it changes the mood a little bit. The mood changes into more of a, just kind of like a really slow, heavy blues kind of riff, which I like. In fact, a lot of the songs on here like that revolve around some kind of heavy or dark blues kind of riff, such as Bleeding Me. I really like that song, Bleeding Me. Really like the guitar solo for that. And then the Outlaw Torn, very blues driven. King Nothing, also very blues driven, but with a slightly heavier edge to it. I mean, all in all, I would say I definitely give this 5 metal horns. Definitely. Granted, I know still to this day there's a lot of fans, quote unquote diehard fans, that don't like this album. But for me, I like it. I mean, it's good. Again, it's of course it's not a thrash metal album. More of a hard rock album with a very bluesy kick to it, I guess you could say. I'll open it up here and show you some of the artwork. Of course, another thing that people complained about was because this was the album in which Metallica revealed their short haircuts. This is pretty much around the time when, they cut all of their long hair. You can see that's them right there. There. You can see, of course, obviously, Lars is, I don't know why Lars decided to wear a lot of black eyeshadow, but he did. Supposedly in this picture, they're wearing what was referred to as Cuban pimp suits. So, I don't know. But ultimately, like I said, to me, I consider it to be a really good album. Do I consider it to be a really good thrash metal album? No, because it's not thrash metal. Much more akin to hard rock. Yeah, like I said before, that's what Load is. And actually, I think the title they chose was very good because you could say it's kind of a, in a way, their way of like saying to the music industry and to a lot of the fans or anybody who expected a certain style from them, it was their way of blowing a load on all of that, like, or in other words, giving the middle finger to everyone and anything that was trying to pigeonhole them into a certain category and make sure that they stayed in that category. So, I like that they did that. I like that they stuck to their guns with that, with this album. There. So that'll do it for this review. Of course, once again, I do give it 5 metal horns. And stay tuned for my review of Reload. That's right, Reload. In which they alienate even more fans. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.